Welcome back, boils and ghouls, to another episode of the Indie Spotlight series. Tonight's episode is a little bit different. It is about a zine magazine hybrid. It is called Wizerd. Now, Wizerd is kind of the brainchild of a guy named Eli Roth, and he is behind a publisher called Cosmic Lion. And Cosmic Lion is pretty prolific. They've done quite a bit of stuff. They're very well known in the independent circuit. They were also, wonderful piece that came with this, by the way. They commissioned Jim Rugg to do a Charles Schulz homage with Hellboy. I mean, this is just glorious stuff. Also, with the second issue, I did get this freaking amazing Wizerd sticker designed by none other than Cankor himself, Matthew Allison, who I swear one day when he's not absolutely insanely busy, I will get on the freaking channel. Can't believe I borked the opportunity to get him on here like a year and a half ago when he actually had time. This is really cool. He threw in a Wizerd 2 exclusive. This is just kind of like a collection of his mini comics. Really neat stuff. Limited. The Devil in Detail, by the way, is a podcast that he does with his buddy Ben, and it is about Grendel, and they have broken the series down intensely. It is amazing, and Matt Wagner has been on there a number of times. I'm hoping that via Eli and Ben, and then also perhaps if I can talk Kelly Jones into strong arming him, I can get Wagner onto the channel because I really want to grill him about Mage. Tonight, though, we were talking about Wizerd, the comics magazine. This thing it's very unique. It was born out of the love of cartoonist kayfabe. It's through a community called the Cartoonist Kayfabe Ringside Seat, and it's a Facebook page primarily, but it's been like a focal point for creators and creatives and other people involved who just want to make comics that love cartoonist kayfabe. They kind of all united, and through Eli, they've done some really amazing stuff, and this is one of them. Wizerd is crazy. It's this is an introduction, and it does kind of tell you, like, it's part zine, it's part magazine, it's part Wizerd, because it is kind of wizardy. It's got some stuff that's like coverage, but it's not. It's all the good parts of Wizerd. There's just a lot of really fun stuff in here. Unfortunately, because this thing is a monster, we're not going to have time to check out everything in here in detail, so I'm going to be flipping while I talk. I love that they have fan art on the letters again. They have a Jim Rugg interview. They also interview Ed Piskor. They are decent interviews. There's some cool little bits, but the other interviews in here are a little bit more interesting to me. Some of the ads are really cool. I learned about some great guys. I wish the Tom Scholey interview was longer as well. It's a single page piece. His recommendations. This reminds me why I feel like I could just hang out with Tom Scholey. Like, we could kick it and have a good time. The interspersed throughout the magazine, because it's not a magazine, it's a megazine, right? There are actual comics, and some of the comics are pretty good. Some of them are amazing, and all of them showcase some really interesting independent talent that is, I think we probably might end up hearing about a few of these guys without question. I love this piece. Narbonne the Destroyer. Licking Mark Palm for Guava. So I don't keep up necessarily as well as I should with the independent comic scene, unfortunately, because I don't have time or money. Again, fairly short interview. I like my interviews like super long and dumb and detailed. I'd rather just get beaten over the head with Ken Burns style stuff. I love these Man, that was one of my favorite parts about reading Wizerd, and I'm really happy that they included this stuff. They've got some really nice design work, some just great ads. I love the fake X-Men Grand Design game ad. Interview with Han Allred. And when I saw the preview for Han's documentary that he's doing about his dad, Spaceface, I was so intrigued. I've been waiting I think 2 years for something to happen with this. And I think a lot of stuff slowed down because of COVID, but I think it also got bigger and took on a lot more. It just took on a life of its own. And this article actually, more of an article than it is an interview, really gets into the reasons that they're doing the documentary, how the documentary has led to expansion and discussion between his relationship with his dad, understanding him, people understanding his art. For anyone who's not familiar, Mike Allred apparently suffers from these horrible psychedelic hallucinations. And if you read his books every few years, they just kind of feel like they go really left turn. They get crazy and you're like, wow, Mike Allred's doing acid again. The thing is, Mike Allred's a square and he don't do drugs. So for a lot of years, I didn't know what the heck to make of these. He would just go in a direction you had no clue. You could have never foreseen. And it is because of the psychedelic paralysis. He's locked in these moments of existential dread. It's really interesting. I'm really looking forward to the documentary, and the article is really cool because he seems to be just as intrigued and changed by the conversation as I seem to have been by seeing the trailer and the preview and then reading about it. I'm really invested in it. I cannot wait to see Spaceface. This was actually really cool. They tracked down somebody who had his work published in Wizerd back in the day. Fun little interview. Some cool, fun little comics interspersed throughout. This one is super duper cool. I wish it was longer. This is Gary Carlson, the guy behind Megaton, man. Decent interview. Nobody talks to freaking Gary Carlson, and Gary Carlson's the guy, like I said, behind Megaton. And if you know anything about Megaton, then you know that's Eric Larson, that's Rob Liefeld, that is some big, heavy hitter. Butch Geis worked for Megaton as well, and I am a massive fan of Butch Geis when he is allowed to kind of do his thing. I really like Butch Geis. I'm super happy to see this. I'm really, really intent on getting Gary Carlson into the hot seat and grilling the crap out of that guy one of these days. Just pivotal figure. I think highly underrated. Nobody remembered when he came back into the industry after Megaton with Big Bang and stuff. So, I'm happy to see that. Dr. Weird. I loved that there was a Dr. Weird piece in here. For anybody who doesn't know, that is for Jim Starlin's first ever work was for a bizarre freaking comic series called Dr. Weird, and it is truly weird. Excerpts from Chanzine. I follow a Chanzine on Instagram. It's pretty cool. It's a project to document Jackie Chan throughout the years. Tales to Enlighten. Some great back-to-back ads. I've been talking to Matt, and I can't wait until Tales to Enlighten 2 drops. It's going to be a monstrous behemoth craziness. It's going to be madness, guys. There's some ads for some stuff in here I actually want to check out, because this is 2 years old now, from 2020, 2021, I believe. And I didn't get a chance to check it. I didn't even know it was around until I found this on the Facebook page. So this is a article on Copra. I think it's Copra. It might be Copra moving to Image Comics. And it's interesting because that move didn't work. Fife has moved back to doing his own stuff, I believe for a number of reasons. I think probably Michelle Fife just works better that way. This Diana Schutz interview, this is some good stuff. This was a fun read. There's more and more stuff like the Diana Schutz stuff. The farther you move into it, it's lengthy, it asks good questions, it gets into some interesting territory, it spans time, it's inclusive, it's interesting, it's well laid out. I am going to say this was a great freaking interview. It is one of the centerpieces of this magazine. I highly recommend checking it out for that. One of the other cool things is they got Tom Palmer to come in, and he didn't do new Palmer's picks, but he writes about Palmer's picks, and he kind of like critiques and talks about some of his favorite, most successful, least successful Palmer's picks. You know, it's fun. It's cool. Tom Palmer was one of the really important parts of the original Wizerd magazine for a lot of us. He turned us onto some really great stuff, so it's super duper cool. Image Grand Design, again, I think Eli is one of the guys who really tackled a lot of that, along with a guy, I believe, Rocco Jerome. And Grand Design, it is a fan-done homage piece to Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg's Grand Design series for Marvel, but done for Image. It is super duper cool. They did some like stupidly limited hard copy printing editions of it. I'm going to have some for the upcoming William Messner Loeb's benefit sale, so if you want to check that out, make sure you keep an eye on my channel and my Instagram page for details on that, because it is really something to behold, and it is not something to be offered for actual purchase, like monetary sale. All the benefits are going to go to William Messner Loeb's, and normally you can buy a digital version of it, and all the money goes to the Hero Initiative. Super worthy fun, super great book. Cannot recommend it enough. Just amazing stuff. Sam J. Royale, the guy who did a big chunk of the Max work in there, actually donated some originals for the William Messner Loeb's benefit sale as well. So it's going to be really neat. I'm really, this whole community of people, and a lot of these guys are centered around cartoonist kayfabe. There are some really amazing individuals in that community, and it's a great community to be a part of. I love talking to those guys and learning and like just expanding my consciousness about comics. It's cool. This is a really, really cool piece with Timothy Truman. Some people might not know who Tim Truman is. I happen to not only be into a lot of psychedelic stuff, but I also am into gig posters and like graphic design in general. So like Tim Truman is a freaking legend, man. It would have been cool if we'd have gotten another little bit longer piece. But Tim Truman is like, I could tell when Tim popped up, I was like, these guys know what they're doing. All right, I'm going to pay attention to what they got to say. Yeah, if you're not a kayfaber, some of the like kayfabe stuff is a little bit over the top at points. If you're not a kayfaber, I think it's funny, I think it's kitschy and whatever. But this book, what's really telling about this is that for all of the like gushing and the love for like, you know, cartoonist kayfabe and Rugg and Piskor and even Sholey in here, this could stand all of that removed completely on its own as a publication. And that is the sign of a really well done fan publication, which I think this is kind of even pushing the bounds for. This is kind of moving outside of like fan created stuff into like professionally curated niche market material that normally would have been produced by fans. That's my take. This book is high quality. Unfortunately, the freaking post office decided to play hockey with this thing and just destroyed the corners on it. Some of the previews in here, I mean, like, gorgeous stuff, guys. I'm telling you what, if you want some good, like, tips on people to watch, stuff to pick up, really cool. This was awesome, too. Etch-a-Sketch art. I was like, man, that is cool as crap. I wish I could draw on an Etch-a-Sketch. I grew up obsessed with them. And I'm dyslexic and dysgraphic, so using the wheels, totally counterintuitive to me. Messing around with figures, man, if you are not following Punker Mike on Instagram, you're losing out. This cat is wild crazy. He does like fan, the fan photographing stuff, but his stuff is just better done than most people. Has a really nice aesthetic to it, and he's the guy who created the fake X-Men Grand Design NES game. He just does a lot of really interesting stuff. Highly recommend checking out his Instagram page. This is a really cool article too. The comic films of Patrick Meany. It's an interview with the guy who did, as you can see, Claremont's X-Men. He did Dream Dangerously with Neil Gaiman. He did Talking with Gods with Grant Morrison. And for me, most importantly, he did the Image Revolution. That piece was like, I still think that's my favorite. Outside of, actually, no, it's my second. Because 2000 AD, Shock, the story of 2000 AD, the interviews weren't just 20 or 30 minutes long. They're hour and a half long, full-fledged pieces of their own on the Blu-ray. I wish that was the case with Image Revolution. And also that it had more Sam Keith in it. But this is a really cool conversation talking with Patrick about how he got into stuff and like doing some of his work. Again, wish it was a little bit longer. But Patrick Meany is one of those guys that I really do look up to. Okay, as a guy who creates documentary work for my channel, I really look up to him. Some of this 8-bit art is freaking just, stellar. Like that Magneto, holy jeez. I wish they made video games that looked this good when I was a kid. Like, look at that. Dude, oh my god, that Cerebus is dead on. Just some great stuff. There's, like I said, there's some pretty good previews for stuff in here, sporadically, like spread throughout, which is interesting. That was an interesting route to take. Rather than clumping it, they throw it in there. It gets you to read more of it, not gonna lie. You're way less likely to just like browse past something. Bobby Madness, this was a good piece. I didn't even know necessarily a ton about anybody going into this, and it was a well done. This one is conducted by someone else. Yeah, so this interview was conducted by Brick Smith. I like the fact that Eli's not afraid to publish interviews by some other people. In fact, when he does another issue of this, I might actually end up talking to him about doing an interview for him, for whatever subjects he might be covering. It's a good publication. I'd love to contribute to it and see this thing keep going and maybe expand and even refine on the subject matter. Speaking of which, we could just keep going. Okay, there's comics. There's some great ads. Tons of previews for just wonderful stuff. There are some fun reads, okay? As far as the actual like comics go, towards the end here, this was a decent little piece on Basil Wolverton. Wolverton really is starting to only now get his credits, but what's really freaking cool is this. I just love the way that these pages reproduce. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. Wolverton's a psycho, and in all the best possible ways. Yeah, I'm a big sucker for when they just scan pages on. Dave Baker, again, I wasn't super familiar with Dave Baker going into this. I just don't keep up with indie books of any kind well enough. Got me interested. I ended up checking out a little bit more of his stuff. He did a book with Alexis Ziritt, and this is some Alexis Ziritt stuff right here. I am a massive fan of Alexis's work, have been for quite a while. Space Riders is probably his best known work. I forget the name of the piece that he's doing. Night Hunters, that's what it is. I think this is even a preview of Night Hunters, actually. I got everything Alexis has ever put out. And I think everything I've got is signed and drawn on because I always get it directly from him. Just a great guy. He's done some work for Magic the Gathering, Wizard of the Coast recently. He did a Lightning Bolt cover, or a Lightning Bolt card for them. I'm just happy to see him getting out there. He did a really nice Star Wars poster a few years back that Disney ended up sticking at like Walmart. Yeah, I mean, the guy's cool. Not that like Walmart makes you cool. I'm just saying like he's an indie guy that's talented enough that just doing work for Disney that his stuff is what ended up at Walmart. That doesn't arbitrarily happen, you know? I love Jim Moffitt. Guy is just a maniac. I love him. So going into this one, I didn't know much about Jamie Jones. This got me interested. His art is really cool. I just really like the impressionistic feel of it. It'd be really neat to see him do some interiors with his more painted stuff. If you want to check out some more of his stuff, I do highly recommend checking out more of Jamie Jones's stuff. But you get a little bit of preview of his work here. There's like a good energy and a good flow. It's a nice combination of like the old Golden Age style stuff, like comboed with more cartoony, new wave, post-90s, I would say like early 2000s type stuff. I'm going to say Jamie is one of those guys I'm going to be trying to track down and talk to because his stuff is really good. Nice ads, but like I said, you know, if you're looking for cool stuff to check out, like there are everything. There's zines, there's podcasts. If I had any money the next time they put out an issue, I would put an ad in here, period, just to say like, yeah, I had an ad in there. They have like parodies of grading comics. And at the end here, it's not long. It's kind of like a short little write-up. It's a fake price guide for independent comics. What's cool is there are a lot of books in here that you're not going to necessarily come across in an actual price guide. And just knowing the issues and like who worked on some stuff and what people are interested in is it's intriguing to me. I like that like Zot is on here. This is a well done magazine. I could keep going on and on and on and on and on and on and on, but instead we shall simply move on to the next issue because I was late to the boat on this one. So this issue right away, they perfected a little bit of the binding. It feels like the pages are a little bit thinner, but more well constructed. This is also kind of just refining the idea from the first issue. I enjoyed it. This is Mike Manley on Mike Manley, and it is talking about like Riley, the teenage Bigfoot. Never read Riley, unfortunately. Had a couple of people tell me I should check it out, so I'm hoping I can check it out. There's a nice collection. I've actually got it on my like Amazon influencer list. I love this Gutter Pop ad. I gotta say, some of the like fake ads and stuff really are kind of stepping up. And like the little one-page pieces, the contributions and stuff, there's some great stuff inside of here as far as actual cartooning work goes. And there was a couple of guys that I definitely am going to be following and reaching out to. Really would love to help some of these guys out. Looks like their work is just phenomenal. And it's nice to see people with a forum to share that again. Yeah, this was an interesting piece with Jesse Lonergan, or Lonergan. I unfortunately am not sure how to say his name. Interesting interview. It was different. It asked some interesting questions. It went to some interesting places. I like interviews that do that. Those kind of interviews evoke responses from the participants that you don't get from the fluff crap pieces. So this looks actually really interesting. Attaboy, I really want to check this out. It's like a play on like instructional booklets and a graphic novel, but the art for this looks next level, man. Super duper cool stuff. I love how a lot of these guys are like taking influences from my childhood and absolutely turning them on their heads and just doing some really interesting stuff. Tony McMillan, I think, is the guy doing it. I'm really looking forward to I hope I can check out Attaboy. I hope it's still in print. This is the newer issue, by the way, Wizerd 2. Should still be available. Link to this in the description below. Cover by none other than Kankor, Matthew Allison himself. It's super duper cool. Another cool thing about this was it is colored by Sam J. Royale, the guy who did the Mac stuff for Image Grand Design, and the guy who donated original Mac's art for the William Esmer Loeb sale. First ever comic that Sam J. Royale was read was a William Esmer Loeb's Flash comic, I believe. This is a pop art lampoon. I'm gonna admit, Lichtenstein pisses me off really bad, and I don't like Andy Warhol much either. So I'm all about kind of lampooning that kind of mentality of like appropriating stuff, and that idea of that being pop art bothers me. The reproduction in this one, quite a bit better. I think I mentioned the paper stock I like quite a bit more, and it feels like they dealt with the some of the binding issue. I wish it's so big. I mean, it's just so big, and it's built to last too. So it's actually not gonna like fall apart on you after 2 or 3 reads. You can drag this around and read it on the go, which is kind of a must with a book this big. It's super cool. Just don't be afraid of having, a Kankor piece out sitting at work on break. People are gonna ask you what you're reading. Some of the one page, like I said, some of the one pages in here are really, really nice. The little articles are getting better as well. Shaky Cane, this is a great piece. Shaky Cane's just crazy. If the name Shaky Cane wasn't already taken, I probably would appropriate some level of that into my art because of my hand trimmers. I love Shaky Cane. And when I found out about his name, I was like, what? I have to check out his stuff. And it's just it's bizarre, but in all the best ways. I don't know. So there's just so much stuff. I'm trying to like flip through here and not make this a 2-hour video. This is a piece with Brian Talbot, who I think is English. He's doing a really cool series. I think a little preview of the art. It is some great stuff. This is a really cool piece. It's in-depth, it's nice. Like I said, they learned everything that they could from the first issue, and I feel like they really did improve on this in the second one. I wish we got to see more stuff like that centerpiece, Diana Schutt's interview. Like, gimme more big, juicy, long freaking interviews, behind the scenes stuff. Some of these previews are great. I love this fact that like Twin Peaks, people are still talking about a Twin Peaks comic book. This is like a debate that was going on, and we always said it would make an amazing comic book. I still maintain it would make a mind-blowing comic book. So it's cool to see like just some story element breakdowns. Bootleg G.I. Joe. God bless, man, what? Some of the stuff in here is just great. Like, this is another dude I'm going to try to check out. Oh, yeah, sorry, Schlebzig, right down to the bottom. Well written, but, like, the art is really cool. I don't know, there's something very, very interesting about the minimalism. I can see a lot of these guys are, like, channeling, like, Frank Miller lines, like, all of this stuff via, like, Jim Mahfood insanity with, like, the body layouts and that kind of stuff. And, like, the female form here, that looks very Jim Mahfood. But, like, there's other influences going on here that are numerous and from much more obscure places. European, Italian, a lot of just cool places. And I'm very interested to check out a few of the guys that I've come across in this. Schleppzig is definitely one of them. I don't know anything about this book. I haven't had a chance to check out Heavy Traffic, but I will tell you this was one of the ones where I like stopped and was like, whoa, what? Okay. Writing it down on the list of guys to check out. So like, again, another thing that I can say, a lot like when I was like, 13, 14, reading Wizerd, flipping through there, Wizerd really is a good cursory place to like jump in and find out about some people and get involved with the independent scene. It is very, very fun. You feel like you're just kind of a part of something with this book, and I enjoy that. I like being a part of something. It's a little bit hokey at times because of, where it's coming from, and I appreciate that. They're not afraid to go a little bit over the line and be like, hey, no, we are a Wizerd-influenced zine. If you like Wizerd back in the day, then you're going to be a little bit cheesy like us, and dang it, I like that. Rick Veitch, man. God, I could just do more. I could read interviews with Rick Veitch, watch interviews with Rick Veitch forever. Talk about freaking crazy interesting dudes. And man, they didn't chintz out on this one. This is the Diana Schutz interview from the first one. And it's just Rick Veitch. Great piece. I think it's like 8 or 10 pages. It's a really good piece. Highly recommend checking it out. Again, we got some cool previews. There's variants in the page stock as well. This is all nice, more actual paper stock, and this is slick for the reproduction of art, which works really well. As I said, I think they learned a lot from the first issue, and this second issue is put together in every sense of the word, even better than the first issue. Oh my God. Yeah, like Dan Panosian. Oh my Lord. That dude is a legend in my eyes. Cool, short interview, but cool, infinitely interesting guy. Also very much in touch with comic books, which I appreciate. Not a lot of guys who reach his level. They don't always stay associated with comics and remember the little guys. Dan Panosian definitely does. And it's not because he has to. I'm trying to find some of the other cool... Nick Cagnetti. So, Nick Cagnetti is definitely like one of those guys that I've been following on Instagram for a number of years. Pink Lemonade was a book that I remember... I've got Pink Lemonade somewhere, like the self-published version of it that he did. Super cool stuff. Very interesting, unique style. For a long time, when I was just looking at his stuff, I always thought that was Pink Lemonade's head. And it turned out, like, later on that, like, that's just a helmet. But Nick is, like, super cool. Yeah, that's what I thought Pink Lemonade looked like. If you're looking for something interesting and different that's been ruminating for quite a while, and I think might have something to say for a lot of people, Pink Lemonade by Nick Cagnetti is one of those really out-of-the-box books that I definitely do recommend people give a check out to. William Stout. Dude, I mean, if you don't know who William Stout is, then you're not into, like, poster art or cover art or anything. Like, William Stout was, God, oh my God. And it's a good piece with Stout, too. He does like a style, I don't know, he's capable of achieving like a Crumb-like style, but he's not a Crumb derivative. He's very versatile. He's been around for a very long time. And it's cool because Eli knows about a lot of this stuff that he did. It's not necessarily like centered on one certain thing. It does cover a lot of ground. We got a nice... I guess this, for me, is on the level of the Diana Schutz interview. It's very well done. And I do applaud Eli for getting pieces like this into books because they're long, and I know it can be scary to put that much, dialogue, like just words, like bam. And breaking it up as much as you can, but you just hope people don't lose interest. Tons of previews for really cool stuff. Sam J. Royale's book, Dishoom. Got a video coming up on Dishoom before long as well. Absolutely crazy book. Sam is just an incredibly nice guy. If you're not following Sam's work, I highly recommend it. He also, dude, if you're looking to get some crazy ass Max art, I highly recommend getting a hold of Sam J. Royale. He's one of those guys that is really capable of just channeling the Max. Great artist, super cool guy, and big fan of his work. So, got little write-ups, little bits and pieces. I like the little filler stuff. It's nice. You get a lot of names, a lot of suggestions, check out, that kind of stuff. Contact info, websites. I always like that. A good Palmer's Picks on Dwellings. I've been so hard trying to find Jay Stevens' work. It is driving me nuts. I want to read freaking Dwellings so bad. I have heard such good things about Dwellings, and I have not been able to find it because it's Canadian, I believe, the people that put it out. I think it's Black Eye Books is the people that put it out. So if anybody has a line on Jay Stevens' work, especially Dwellings, please hit me up. I would love to do a piece on them, check them out. Oh, speaking of Jim Mahfood, I keep mentioning him as like a big influence. It's funny because Jim Mahfood definitely has dropped ads in both of these issues. Oh, yeah, this is pretty cool, a nice little profile. And I like seeing profiles for guys that I'm not necessarily, because I had never heard of Craig C.K. Wet your beak, get you interested. Tons of nice little pieces like that. And if you're looking for good independent books and comics to check out, it also does have a nice selection of comics that you can look up the creators of and follow the comics. A lot of the comics are parts or previews of other publications, and there are some real standouts. Do not get me wrong. I love this one page. This is obviously let us absolutely nail the EC layout. This guy read so much freaking... Oh, dude. It's great. Single page. I think I like their single page stuff the best. It's just some really, really nice stuff. Good... I know I'm going to say this a million times. I'm sorry if it sounds repetitive. This is a good, solid publication. This is a good magazine. Michel Fife. I'm a massive Fife fan, so it's really cool to see. And you don't see too many interviews with Fife. I've tried to get an interview. Super busy with going back to self-publishing. Great creator. It was super cool to see an interview with him. Matthew Foyer, I think, is the guy who did. Yeah. I like Matt's stuff too. I've seen him pop up quite a few places. I could just, oh man, yeah. Fun freaking interview article to read. And there are just some there's some stellar art ads in here. There's some stuff that I really wouldn't mind checking out. As far as guys to follow, what books they're doing. There's some great recommendations from guys that aren't involved with the publication as well. So you get what are guys inside of the industry reading, what are independent guys reading. Very inclusive. I really like the atmosphere of this magazine. Like I said, the next time they put out a book, I might try to get involved and contribute a interview. They are pushing boundaries and doing some really interesting stuff with independent and fan publication and community publication. I am extremely happy to be able to have this on the channel and hopefully show it off to some people that will be interested in picking it up and appreciating it for what it is. Because this is really just, it's a throwback to everything from like the 70s that was great about fanzines, and then everything about the 90s that was great about Wizerd, and now everything about the social media that's actually good and not toxic and fun. It's just a great idea, well executed, I have to say. If you are interested in picking this up, make sure that you follow the link in the description below. There will, I'm sure, be further issues. These things are monsters. This one's like 400 pages. So it takes them a while to get these books out, right? I think it's like a once-a-year publication, annual publication, something like that. This is the 2021 issue, I believe. So if you are interested in following and getting in on Wizerd, now is a good time, because they'll probably be working on stuff before too long for the next issue. I don't know if issue 1 is still in print or if this is technically out of print at this point, but I do know that the last I checked, the amazing Matthew Allison Cankor cover with covers by Sam J. Royale was available. So make sure you check this out. If you want to learn more about Eli or anyone else involved with Cosmic Lion or Wizerd, I will also make sure to stick links to the Cartoonist Kayfabe Ringside Seat Facebook page. It is a great page. I've met some great guys, got some great recommendations. There's some cool debates and conversations that happen on there. And Eli is just always on there. So is Rocco Jerome. Rocco's another guy that I really respect his work. And I love hearing like what they have to say about stuff. Interesting individuals. If you're interested in learning more about Eli specifically, I have talked to him, and we are going to do a live chat 15 minutes after the end of the live premiere on my Instagram channel. So if you're interested in learning more about Eli, asking him about stuff, finding about future projects, etc., whatever, make sure you check that out there. If not, just get onto my Instagram page. I do archive that stuff. Although Instagram's been taking down a lot of my stuff because they claim I'm using images from other people and music from other people, which I am not. But in case it is taken down, if you are a Patreon member, I download and archive all of that stuff on a completely different server. So if you need all of that stuff and you want to check it out and it's not still on Instagram, it will be up on my Patreon page. So thank you guys so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed, saw something you liked. If you did enjoy what you saw, make sure you hit that like button. Think about getting in the comment section below and letting me know if you really enjoyed what you saw. Make sure you Hulk smash that subscribe button. If you do that, make sure you ding the little notification bell so you never miss another video or premiere. Again, if you feel like you're in a position to help the channel grow, think about using the link in the description below to sign up for my Patreon page. For as little as $3 a month, you get access to tons of behind the scenes posts, updates, exclusive content like uncut interviews, and you can even get your name in the credits. If you want to support the channel, but Patreon is not your thing, have no fear. You can finally sign up for membership right here on YouTube. Just hit the little join button and make sure to select the tier and the perks that fit you best. If that's not enough, you can also make one-time donations towards specific goals or just tip the channel using the Ko-Fi link in the description below. And you can even pick up your very own Jerk Comics shirts like the ones you see on the screen now. As always, this video was brought to you by the Jerk Broadcasting Service, as well as generous grants from the Patreon, Ko-Fi, and YouTube members you see on the screen now. I seriously want to thank every single one of you that supports the channel and helps make these videos possible, with a super special thanks to my loyal Wednesday Warriors, Channel 10, Chasen, Clinton Salvini, and Mike Dolan. I really hope the quality and content is getting better, and I can't wait to see where this next year takes us with your continued support. Thank you again for helping this crazy dream of mine become a reality, and for sticking with me. I hope you all enjoyed, maybe even learned something, and as always, I really, truly, and honestly ask only two things. Keep it in those local shops, and keep reading comics.